Okay, we'll get started in just a minute. Okay. All right. So we're ready to go. We're going to journey into self. I'm your host, Sarah. Tonight's discussion is love and the misconceptions that people have of love and the true conception of what love is. Today, we have a situation where what people perceive to be love is very distorted. What I mean by that is today's vision of what love is very selfish and self-centered. What most people look for when they talk about getting into a relationship, most people aren't thinking about sharing love. It typically is focused on what people think that they can get from it, what people want the relationship partner that they're with to do for them, how they can benefit from being in a relationship. So all of these concepts are very self-centered, and that is not what love truly represents. I think this concept is promoted by social media. It's promoted by mainstream media, and it is one of the sources of a lot of the current conflict that we see going on with regard to uh, black male female relationships and just relationships in general. In terms of what love actually is and how it should be represented uh, is completely opposite of what the current conception of it is. So when we go back and look at how love is to be defined, love is not a conditional situation. True love is supposed to be eternal. Why do you say that, Sarah? Well, if you look at all of the the different spiritual philosophies, religious teachings, which are an extension of spirituality, is really just the outer layer of spirituality. Religion is. Uh, Most people even have a misconception about spirituality uh, and religion, uh, as if they were two separate things. They're just extensions of each other. Uh, Most people can't get initiated into the deeper aspects of religion, which is spirituality. But that's another a topic for another time. But the point that I was getting to is that in all different spiritual systems and different religious philosophies, one thing is common in that love is said to be God. Love is God. God is love. So, from that standpoint, we should understand then that true love is eternal, is God is eternal. It's not conditional. For God loves us unconditionally, such as it should be when we say that we love. In fact, if we are to really truly understand who we are, then what should we should be saying instead of I love such and such a person, or I want love from such and such a person. Rather, we should say uh, I am love, because that's who we are. We are a microcosm of God. We are an individualized aspect of God. And so it is that we are to be manifesting our God like qualities. That's part of the objective of our lives, is to come to the realization of the truth of who we are, to overcome the layers of misunderstanding of our true essence, which is that of love. And so, in being godlike, it is for us to be love, to demonstrate those qualities. And in doing so, it is not about conditionality. It is not about selfishness. It's selflessness. Okay. And so most people, when they say they want love, is really they want something for themselves. They want to receive, but not to give. But one of the things that is a characteristic of the universe is that in order for something to be manifested, whether it's something physical or spiritual, there has to be an action taken to initiate it. It requires a seed to be planted, right? And cultivated and nurtured, right? So that is an act of giving first. You can't receive the fruit of a tree that has been planted without first planting the seed and cultivating it, fertilizing it, watering it. It is only after the act of giving in that manner that you can receive the fruit of what we've planted. And so most people, in terms of their pursuit of love, go about it backwards because people want to receive the fruit without first planting the seed and engaging in the act of cultivation. Right. So, what is it that we're to do? It is that it's for us to give so that we may receive, and that's the reciprocal nature of the universe. That's karma. We reap that which we sow, and so in order for us to be able to receive love, we must first be willing to give it. But that's not the case. Most people just uh, want to receive and see what they can get uh, from others. It's exploitative in nature, right? And so that's what we see often in a lot of the going back and forth between men and women, and it's particularly uh, disconcerting with respect and magnified within the Black community these days, um, because there's so much focus on what others can get uh, from the other person. It's a very selfish perspective. So it's important for us to be able to change our perspective uh, on love, if it is that it's something that we wish to receive for ourselves, to get in tune with who we are. It's also important that in terms of love, it's important for us all to love ourselves first. And when we come to the understanding that we are love, then we relieve the burden and overcome the misconception that love is something that is to come outside of us. When we realize that we are love, then we no longer feel the need to look outside of ourselves for it. So that's part of the journey into ourselves, is to gradually lose our identification with our sense of our individuated self, the perception that we are our bodies, that we are our minds, that we are our senses, that we are our emotions. All of these things are things that it is upon us to be in control of and to overcome the misperception that that's who we are. Everything in the physical world is impermanent, and that includes the human perception or conception of love. And so that is why people uh, go in and out of relationships, they break up, uh, they're hurt because people are under the illusion that uh, love is something that someone has to give to us. And so, in truth, what people perceive as being love is not love at all. It's an attachment. Okay, so what do I mean by attachment? Attachments are things that we develop as a result of our early experiences as a child. And typically those are experiences that end up resulting in pain. And the pain is based upon how we perceive a certain situation, uh, how we perceive what someone has done or said, and how it ends up affecting us. It may not be the intent of the person to give us the perception that we have. People don't do things to us. People do things. And the things that people do typically comes from the fact that people aren't aware of what they're doing. They're not doing things in the now. People aren't choosing their actions in the now. Most people are reacting to things that have happened in the past, or they're anxious about things that they think may happen in the future. And often, what people think is going to happen in the future is a projection from what people have experienced in the past. For example, if we perceive that our parents ignored us, or if our parents divorced, or one of our parents left, we may perceive that situation as our parent abandoning us. And so that becomes an attachment, in that when we perceive ourselves as being abandoned, then we feel like we weren't loved, weren't worthy of love. And so we go forth seeking love. We become attached to uh, someone behaving in a manner that we perceive as being loved. And then if we find someone who professes to love us, uh, we perceive ourselves to be happy. But the happiness tends to be temporary and is conditional upon whether we continue to perceive their actions as being loving towards us. So that ends up developing into an attachment in and of itself, which is comparable to being addicted to a drug, right? So love is what most people perceive as love is actually attachment. And so if then something happens to that situation, or that person leaves us, we feel pain. But the pain is not because they did something to us. They didn't cause us the pain. The pain comes as a result of the fact that we perceived that love was something that was supposed to come from them and give to us, and now we believe that that has been taken away. They hurt us, but in truth, the pain that we felt was as a result of us being attached, which created expectations about how they were supposed to interact with us. And so, based upon those expectations that we've created as a result of our attachment, when they don't behave in a certain sort of way, then we become disappointed. Okay, so my correlation to it being like a drug is that, think about a drug addict, or somebody who actually um, had his first experience with drug, and we'll take, for instance, cocaine, or even alcohol for that matter. So when they first had that experience, um, they felt this sense of euphoria, a high. And for them, it felt good. And so they continue to chase that particular feeling that they got from that first experience. But that feeling will never be had again, ever. And that's what causes addiction is the constant pursuit of trying to get that same feeling again. But remember, that is something that's coming from outside of us, not something that's within. Okay. Because if we are already that, then we realize that something that comes from outside of us isn't going to fulfill us. It's impermanent. Okay. So the drug is never going to give the newly formed addict the same feeling that they got the first time. And so they uh, take more of it in hopes that they can replicate that same feeling. And they get frustrated when they don't experience that same feeling. And then they get upset with their drug provider because they feel like uh, they're not giving them the good stuff any longer. Well, that's the correlation between drug addiction and addiction to the false sense of love. So when similar to when someone first experiences uh, the drug, when first someone falls into love, someone is expressing love, quote unquote, to them. People get that same initial high from it. There's that euphoria, and people are in a fantasy world of joy and happiness, from it. The honeymoon period. But then over time, the effect begins to fade, just as it does when a drug addict is seeking that initial high. And so they require more in the pursuit of being able to replicate that experience. But that's unattainable. And so, just like in the situation which I uh, express about the drug addict, and get upset with the pusher, the drug provider, which is in this case in a relationship type of situation. The provider is the partner in the relationship, and so the accusation is that that person, your provider, partner, is not giving you the good stuff anymore. They're shortchanging you. They don't love you as much. It must be somebody else, right? That person may not have changed. They may be doing exactly the same thing as they always have done, but the effect isn't the same. You don't get the same feeling of high, the same euphoria. because the love is actually a placebo. It's not the true love any more than a drug is a source of happiness. The perception of love is an addiction to a placebo that cannot possibly provide any type of happiness. And so people end up going on this cycle of wanting to uh, receive more and more uh, love or whatever actions that communicate that the other person uh, loves us, and uh, we'll never get that feeling again. And so we end up getting agitated, upset uh, with our relationship partner, and we end up breaking up with them. But again, nothing had changed. That person really didn't do anything different. It was that the love was never going to be a source of happiness in the first place, because that wasn't really true love. It was just an attachment. And the attachment created expectations which were unrealistic, because the human perception of love is not eternal love. It's subject to change, as is everything else in the physical universe. There's nothing permanent in the physical universe. Everything is always changing. And so if we're looking to an external source to bring us happiness, we will always find ourselves disappointed, because it's not possible for anything outside of us to make us happy, and that is not uh, true love. The way that we can really experience love is first for us to realize that we are love, and to be content and happy within ourselves. And that comes from, we've talked about, our spiritual practices, which are designed to get us in tune with ourselves, so that we can come to the realization that we are loved, such that we're not in a position where we're uh, expecting or looking for it from someone else. Okay. And then when we're in that position, then we're happy to be able to give to someone else without the expectation of receiving something in return. Okay. Because love is not conditional. Love is permanent. Okay. So it's either love or it's not. So love, if it's true, is not change, does not change. It's not conditional. It's not something that should be given to be taken away. It is our essence. Okay. And so we should just do it uh, selflessly, without any expectation of return. And see, and the good thing is that because the universe is based upon the law of karma, we are going to receive that which we give. We reap that which we sow. Okay. And so if we are sowing the seeds of love, then it is inevitable that we are going to receive it. So that's why there is no need for us to do anything that is an expression of love with the expectation of receiving something in return. If we're expecting something in return, that's not love, that's business. That's a business transaction. And that's the nature of the relationships that most people have today. It's a business transaction. It's not love. You give me this and I'll give you that. And often the transaction is not uh, a fair transaction. Um, and, I see my good friend, brother, Dr. Tiosan Johnson, who will point out to you that often these type of arrangements aren't equitable. We've had that discussion, quite often, uh, in that uh, from the perspective of uh, a male is expected to give, and there's very little uh, to be received by the male. Okay, so and that's going to end up uh, causing some resentment. So it's basically a bad transaction. To enter into that. From a male perspective, particularly when it comes to uh, the institution of marriage, which is really a bad transaction. But I digress. But the ideal situation in terms uh, of a relationship is where both partners give to each other selflessly without any expectation of receiving anything in return. To do for your relationship partner uh, that which they like based upon your conversations with them. Do things that uh, you understand is pleasing to them, right? And if we've made the right choices in terms of who we're engaging with in a relationship, then we need not worry about receiving anything in return. If we've made the right choice, then that person will give to us in the same way that we've given to them. That they will want to do that and not doing it out of an expectation that they're going to receive something in return. So, and that's the ideal relationship where, there's selfless giving, which is naturally reciprocal because people are giving selflessly without an expectation of receiving anything in return. And as a result, we will receive back in like manner because will have sowed and cultivated the seed in order to be able to bear the fruit of love, which is more in alignment with the sense of universal love, eternal love. So we can look for an example of that when we are in the presence of uh, a spiritual master, someone who has attained the state of enlightenment. And when we observe people who have attained to that state of enlightenment, we see that example of selfless, selfless love. They don't do things for their devotees or followers and with any expectation of receiving anything in return. And all people come to them requesting and asking for certain things, and they're happy to just give to them. And I can speak to that with full confidence because I've been in the presence of a spiritual master. Indeed, my spiritual master, Amma, Srimata Amrita Anandamayi, who was just here in Los Angeles and in the San Francisco Bay Area and is currently in Chicago. When you see her, you'll see her giving constantly. You'll see her consoling people. You see her programs, and her programs are all uh, to uplift and benefit people throughout the world. And she doesn't do anything to receive anything in return. She just wants to help people uh, be happy, to help people uh, to comfort people, to love people, to help people get what they want, to console people. And so spend hours upon hours uh, embracing and expressing love without needing or wanting anything in return. Okay. But the universe gives back to us when we behave in this manner because the universe operates on that principle of karma. So if we want to receive love, then it is for us to be that. Because we are that, because God is that, and that God is our true essence. God is who we are. Thus, we are love. And when we are expressing love, we're expressing our Godhood. And that is how it is that we are supposed to approach being in a relationship. Not with the objective to receive, but with the objective to give selflessly. And again, it is incumbent upon us to make the right choice in terms of our relationship partner, such that we choose someone who is inclined to be selfless in their giving. Often, we make poor decisions, poor choices, you know, based upon the the outer package, or what we may perceive that we're going to get from them. You um, and inevitably, we end up being disappointed, and then we end up pointing the finger, at them because they hurt us, they did us wrong. But no, he didn't. They didn't do anything to us. They did things, and we experienced it, and we internalized it, and we made it about us. But if we were paying attention, we would have made a better choice because we always know, our intuition knows, I made mistakes in uh, choices that I've made for relationship partners. And in reflection, I knew it was a mistake, but I didn't listen to my intuition. I listened to uh, senses. And while those things ended up providing some temporary uh, pleasure, satisfaction, or whatever, um, it ended up ultimately resulting in pain. Not that they caused me pain. It was one, I made a poor choice, and two, uh, I had attachment, which led to some expectations that I created. And when those expectations were not met, uh, I felt pain because I was attached to that. Okay. And it was when I was able to let go of the attachment of believing that I needed love and wanted it and thought that it was supposed to come from outside of myself. When I let go of that and came into the realization that the love that I was looking for has always been within me, then I'm not no longer looking for love because I am that. Therefore, I'm at peace. I'm content with myself, whether I'm in a relationship or not, which puts me in a better position to be in a relationship because I'm not imposing the condition that my relationship partner is responsible for making me happy. And my happiness is not conditional upon someone else's actions. So I don't need that. I may want it or I may not, but I'm at peace either way. And if it were to go away, I'm at peace either way because I'm not looking for that for happiness. I have that. Love is within me as it is within all of us. So it's important for us to be able to let go of the misconception that love is something that's supposed to come from someone else, from something outside of us, and realize that we are love, and it is upon us to express our divinity by being loving, and by being love, then we will attract love. We attract based upon the vibration that we put out. Okay. So if we vibrate love, we attract love. If we vibrate lust, we attract lust. And lust is an attachment. Lust create and attachments create expectations. And expectations are what causes pain. People don't cause us pain. Our expectations cause us pain. The expectations that we place upon people cause us pain. So we let go of we transcend our attachments. We transcend uh, expectations and find the peace and tranquility of the love that's within us. Then we empower ourselves to be love, to be peace, to be tranquility. And then we're in a much better position to be able to receive uh, love and perceive love. And, we're not chasing some illusion, an illusion, no perception of what we think love is. So remember, most human love is based upon attachments. And attachments are to um, things that are impermanent, right? Uh, Emotions can be impermanent. Um, People can come and go. People do come and go. People change, right? And so we don't want our emotional state to be tied to what someone else does, because that's what causes pain. It's not them that causes us pain. It's our attachments that cause us pain. Okay. And so, for us to be able to truly be able to receive love, we must be that in order to be able to attract love. And love is selfless, not selfish. And it requires us to give, to plant, to nurture. And then we receive the fruit thereof. We give to put ourselves in a position to receive. That's what love is. All right. So with that, uh, we'll end. I hope that you listen to this and listen to it over and contemplate it. Let it sink in, let it resonate, with you. Consider it, meditate on it, right? And you will, be able to see the truth in it, and let go of the, the illusions that we've had of love that we've developed that uh, we get constantly inundated with from media, all sources of media and books, that create these fairy tale conceptions of what love is, and it's these things that end up causing a lot of disappointment and pain. Okay, and so it is for us to be able to shift our perception and to transcend conceptions and misconceptions that we've had about love. And so with that, I'll end. Uh, I'll encourage you to visit my website if you feel that I can be of any help and assistance to you on your path um, in terms of spiritual guidance, uh, suggestions for assistance on your spiritual path, um, point you in the right direction, or even uh, relationship counseling if you're in a relationship um, or want to be in a relationship. Uh, feel free to reach out to me, um, and I'll certainly be of help. You can get in contact with me by visiting my website, which is www.sa-ra.org. That's www.sa-ra.org. Therein, you will find a link where you can set up an appointment with me. I have a link where you can set up a free 30-minute consultation where we can talk. You can figure out how I can be of assistance to you, and we can work on a program to move you uh, and help you uh, ascend on your path. Everyone's path is different, but I can help you on your path. So again, visit me on my website, www.sa-ra.org, or you can contact me on Facebook. I'm Sarah. So with that, thank you for joining me here on Journey into Self, and we'll see you next time, hopefully in 2 weeks. Talk to you soon. Hotep.